Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Saturday, July 13th, 2019. In both the Lynn Life and the Jamie Body Mind, the authorized souls remain only child souls from the deeper, denser dimensions who are passing through here on their way to the light. And all other souls from all other dimensions, as long as the souls are already living by the many Search for Truth rules already given to the Search for Truth community by wiser minds above all of us. And those rules include staying focused on the major assignments of our times, working on the biggest problems we're able to identify until somebody else is consistently working on those problems better.
That's true.
That's what we're supposed to be doing. And we're supposed to be doing it to the best of our abilities as if we intend to excel. And we've been working to keep the portal open. That's a foundational assignment that was given to this host life decades ago. It's been on the desktop of the computer for a couple decades.
That's true.
Be a portal from the higher dimensions into the depths. So what now to keep the portal open, or what now to reopen the portal? Those inquiries are important inquiries. And we also have the awareness that asking questions with real curiosity is something that can work to open portals.
That's true.
And we have multiple questions on the table, as well as multiple instructions from wiser minds above for filming. We have the instruction to give the frame of reference of the dysfunctions of the planet by using the template of the morning protocol. And we have it here again, we're bringing it with us. This is the list of the common error patterns that are shared by souls in this dimension of ground zero and the dimensions that intersect with this dimension. These are the errors of the souls who pass through here from all the intersecting dimensions.
That's true.
Can you think of a better way to say that?
No, I couldn't.
We also have, from a recent filming, the instructions to view questions that come in through email as a category unto themselves.
That's true.
And we have another question from a viewer, but it's come in by email.
That's true.
And we have our other questions that have come in through the YouTube comment facility. And they are here, and these are the curated questions. These are questions from humanity, and they're waiting to be heard and answered. So these are the three choices that we've been able to come up with for today's filming.
That's true.
In that we have been told to do all three of these things already. What would you like for us to do today? The questions that came, there's only one question that came in through email. The morning protocol template of error patterns, so that we can have a frame of reference, so that we can find out what other planets with this level of dysfunction have successfully been turned around, or rather what was used to turn around other planets with this level of dysfunction.
That's true.
And the questions of humanity. What do you prefer? Do you want to eliminate any of those three? Which one is the least favorite? All of them.
All of them.
They're all the
That's
least
what someone
favorite.
just said. They said all of them.
Um,
Our guess is that the feeling is they don't want to do the emailed question, because the last filming there was an emailed question and the presences upstairs felt it did not go well for them.
okay, we'll set that aside. Questions of humanity or the morning protocols. There's a feeling that that's gone poorly in the past, just as
That's
this has gone poorly in the past, and we don't yet know about this, and maybe this won't be as bad as we think it will be.
That's the feeling upstairs.
We think it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
Just so you know, we're not trying to pull one over on you. We think probably this is pretty bad.
Yeah, I really do.
But we ourselves, whoever's speaking, we think that we've just got to bite the bullet and get these issues on the table.
Yeah, that's true.
And maybe we'll only get a little way into it, but at least let's start the process of getting into it. That's what we think, whoever's speaking.
Yeah.
That's what we think.
I don't feel them closing the portal.
All right, well, we'll start with this. Thank you. So every morning we go through a process of attempting to discern what happened in the overnight, to capture the dream awarenesses, attempt to identify the frames of reference, find the error patterns of the dreamers, find how we join in those error patterns, and then to go through this alignment protocol. And possibly maybe what we could do is go through the alignment protocol, because every night we believe everybody gets tumbled in the astrals. We don't think there's any way around it. When we let go of the grip of this dimension by going to sleep, quote unquote, then we start getting tumbled in the astrals.
That's true.
The currents of the astral dimensions are made by the grasping and aversion reactions of the souls who inhabit the astrals.
That's true.
Souls who want things are going toward those things, creating a current toward those things. Souls who don't want things are running away from things, creating currents away from the things that they are trying to avoid.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
So these astrals are just full of currents, and as presences are dying, they kind of, if they waft up at all, they hit a current, and then they're just pulled along with the current, and they
That's
come
true.
to identify with the current and become one with the current.
Yeah, that's true.
And the currents continue to get stronger and stronger. So as we are beginning the morning protocol, the first thing we do is to breathe. And many presences in Ground Zero Planet Earth are forgetting to breathe, and people are starting to report this to their physicians, and the physicians are telling them that's impossible, rather than saying, oh, this is fascinating.
That's true.
Forgetting to breathe, fascinating, interesting.
Interesting.
And it's not just humans, it's other non-human animals, dogs, horses.
That's true.
They have breathing problems. And so we have this issue down here of literally forgetting to breathe, and it's not just these two lives, these aren't unique, but many people are finding themselves, they'll realize, wait a minute, I'm literally dizzy from lack of breath.
Yes.
When was the last time I took a breath? And literally forgetting to breathe, and then they'll go in and tell their doctor, I've been forgetting to breathe, and the doctor will tell them that that's impossible and put them on some psychotropic drugs, making a problem larger.
Yes.
Or adding new layers to the problem. So that's the first issue, the forgetting to breathe. What now to remember to breathe? For each of us, what now to remember to breathe? And to send it up to the supervisors of that room of angels and godly presences, because it does seem as though a new group is forming.
That's true.
That some group has been kind of put on administrative leave or something.
Yeah.
And that their related souls, their higher souls, are being gathered together to pick up the task where it's been stopped or
That's
dropped
true.
or set aside or stuck. So to attempt to go through that group that is being set up to get to whoever is supervising them, So the second thing we do is merge with the host lives, attempting to begin the process of healing the soul-body disconnect that is everywhere in this dimension. The bodies and souls have lost their grip on each other, and the
That's
souls
true.
are simply floating through lives like plankton floats in water.
That's true.
So that's problem number 2. And then we merge with a life path. And we're merging with the life path, in this case, to shorten the karmic cycles, because we don't see anybody else working to shorten the karmic cycles.
No, that's true. In any dimension.
In any dimension. And right now, the karmic cycles in this dimension, ground zero planet Earth, are delayed until after death. So there's no karmic feedback until after death. And anybody who's ever tried to house train a puppy would know how ridiculous that would be, to delay feedback until after the puppy died. Puppies would not stop peeing in the house.
No, that's true.
So we're merging with the life path to shorten the karmic cycles. So far, so good?
So far, so good.
Do you have any help for us so far with any of those things, with the breathing, the soul-body disconnect, and the disconnect from the life path?
I don't hear anything.
Okay, and then we use the grooming motion, the shortening of karmic cycles, grooming motion for ground zero planet Earth, each of us for ourselves, so that each of us can begin to get some feedback, so that we have some opportunities to rehabilitate ourselves, and so that we're good for something other than factory farm food.
That's true.
When this life is over. So we're attempting to be in service to shorten the karmic cycles, not just for ourselves, but for all presences here in this dimension planet combo pack. So far, so good.
So far, so good.
And then we, well, I'm sorry, I skipped a step. In that merging process, we merge with our own lives, the lives that we're assigned to, and we merge with horse country, because our Ra directed us to move to horse country.
These two host lives.
These two host lives back in, could have been 2014 actually, because of
that's right.
where we were living during the Washington D.C. assignment.
That's true.
So we're trying to work, somebody's asking why we're doing it, is because he said to do it.
That's true.
That's why we're doing it. But trying to figure out why he might have said that, it does seem that it's because horses, specifically athlete horses, have big energy bodies, and we can get a little bit of upward flow going.
That's true.
And the way the recordings are played in the horse barns, there are 50 horses in these barns.
That's true.
It's possible to actually make a difference in the energy flow. Maybe it's possible.
That's true.
We think that that's what the assignment might have been based on. So, as part of the residents of horse country, we have the right, and some might say the responsibility, to tend the energy of space, and we doubt anybody else is doing it.
Oh yeah.
So we pump toroids and bulb syringes for horse country, which is a way of breaking up clogs in the energy, on sticking the energy, and getting a little bit of vertical flow going.
That's true.
It's a way of breaking up old error patterns that don't serve anybody.
That's true.
We pump those up through the big channels of the visiting souls and on up from there, attempting to enlist all aspects of self in the effort. So far, so good?
So far, so good.
Okay, we're 2 lines into it. We've covered this line and this line.
Yes.
Okay, and then we reallocate resources for horse country and for ground zero planet Earth, not in a directed way, but just in a non-directed way, because how the chips are falling now shows how whoever has the resources is going to handle the situation, because that's how the situation is unfolding.
That's true.
And given that we're on a collision course with disaster and humans have already murdered more than half of all other life on the planet, and literally threatening our own civilization, which will undo all the work of all the godly presences for all these thousands of years.
That's true.
Now is the time to see how other presences would handle the same resources, and we're not directing them, and maybe they're going to trees or dolphins, or we don't know.
That's true. We don't know where the resources are going.
Somebody once joked, guys who grow pot in their backyards,
That's right.
we
That's
don't know.
right.
We don't know where they're going, but to lift the resources up and let them fall someplace else. We don't know where they're going. And to do that for horse country, we often intend to lift up the resources and deliver them to the little guys who take good care of their horses.
That's true.
Just to even the playing field a little bit. So far, so good.
So far, so good.
And now, after all of that, we're really hoping we're kind of getting into the vibration of the life path that we're assigned to. And so at that point, we complete the turn to forward on the life path. We intend to rotate forward to face forward. And in this era, we find that in our healing practices, almost always everybody is turned fully backward on their life path, if they're
anywhere near the life path.
Right.
Right.
They're either completely lost from the life path, and that's far more common.
Much more common.
If they're on their life path at all, usually they're lying on the side and facing backwards or upside down, hanging upside down like a bat.
Right. That's right.
So we have the intention to complete the turn to forward, which will get us facing forward. We might be upside down, and so then we intend to complete the turn to up. And usually about then the head starts to feel clearer and lighter.
That's true.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
So then we hopefully are once more on our life path, facing forward, standing up, and then we begin to pump up the dead who are working to get to God. If they're actually working to get to God, they really want to get there. And shouldn't we help them first, right?
Right.
So we pump up the dead who are working to get to God, and we pump them up through wherever Pan is working below. And the reason we do that is because we've not found anybody else who's working farther in the depths. He's always the one down there in the absolute most difficult working conditions. We never see any other soul of any caliber doing harder, dirtier, ickier work than Pan.
That's true.
He's always doing the ickiest job.
In even deeper, denser dimensions.
Even deeper dimensions. And so we run those dead who are working to get to God, who are underneath where He is. We can often get them right up through His space, which creates kind of an updraft, a vortex from those really deep dimensions. And then we run them up through our own spines.
The spines of the host lives.
Yes. And up out the necks and cranium and crown, and then up through the big channels of the visiting souls. Up to the highest powers we can connect with right now, who are working to shorten the karmic cycles for ground zero planet Earth, each of us for ourselves, to shorten the karmic cycles individually for each of us, so that we individually have some rehabilitation opportunities, and that when we die, as is inevitable, that we aren't just pitched into the factory farms.
That's true.
For all of us here, not just for these two lives.
That's true.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Somebody's asking, how often do you do this? Well, formally, once a day, but many, many times a day.
That's true.
And sometimes we notice that within 15 minutes, the alignment is once more lost because the astrals are that turbulent.
That's true.